Hello and welcome to On the Move. We are Matt and Betsy, and today we are taking time to remember. Yesterday was Remembrance Day, or for our American friends, Memorial Day here in North America, and so we got the opportunity to experience that here on the island. And it's not actually the same everywhere across the country here in Canada. Where we came from in Ontario, it's not recognized as a statutory holiday, and I don't think it is in all provinces.
I think Quebec is another one that it is not.
Yeah.
I'm unsure of west of Ontario. I don't know.
We know from previously when we lived out east, we know that a number of the eastern provinces do respect it as a holiday. So most people aren't working on those days. No schools, no governments, none of those things happen. And so yesterday we also, because we were all off, we took the opportunity to go to a Remembrance Day service.
Yeah.
It happened at the cenotaph at our church that we are attending right now. And it was nice.
Yes, it was. Yeah. They had representatives from the government, right from sort of top government down through to the mayor of our little town here. They were there to attend, to place remembrance wreaths at the base of the cenotaph, as well as they had some representatives from the military, I think both past and present, were there as well. And there was it was fairly succinct, but formal and well done. And they had, I don't know what you would call him, the gentleman who played the last post for us. A trumpeter? Is he playing the trumpet?
Yeah, well, he probably has an official term in the military, but I mean, the
sure.
Musician, there was a man with a beautiful silver trumpet there, who played very well, played both the last post, and then of course we had a moment of silence, and then he played Reveille, or Rouse, depending on what you want to call it, afterwards.
There was a poem read. Our local reverend also gave a prayer that happened as well. And then we sang both O Canada and new to us, we sang God Save the Queen.
Yeah, it had been, I think I have sung it before, but not in a very long time.
I'm not sure. Yeah. I have outside of just kind of at home at the piano kind of thing.
It was a part of the education system, at least in Ontario, many years ago.
My mom remembers singing it.
Yeah, and my parents as well
would have been born. They were born in 1950, so.
Yeah, but by the time we were going through the education system, it wasn't a part of it anymore. So we knew it.
Back then, for my elementary school years, I remember saying the Lord's Prayer as part of the morning. We never did it yours? No. Okay, at my school, in our small town, we did the Lord's Prayer. I definitely up until at least grade 3. So again, that would have been late 80s, early 90s that we would have been getting into there. But they no longer do that as well. But they still do every morning. They do O Canada.
Yes, yeah. Which again has different varying levels of respect and importance in schools. The school that I'm at right now, there are some people who feel it's very important and others who don't so much. I did with my kids, I did a rendition of O Canada where I recorded a whole bunch of students and then put it together as a track. And some of the teachers there were very much appreciative of that because they feel it got the kids back into it, whereas a lot of the kids don't necessarily sing O Canada anymore. It's interesting to see some of the students, even because they don't sing it anymore, they only listen to it. Some have misheard the lyrics to it. And so they will sing lyrics wrong. And so when they sing it for me, I go, oh, actually, you need to change that one word. And they're like, oh.
You try to cover that through your music curriculum, right?
Yeah, and usually in grade 2, I go through O Canada with them.
Canada's funny, I think, with its patriotism. We're proud of our country. We love our country. Many of us love that we are here. But I wouldn't say we're a loud and proud country about
on the general
whole.
Right? Yeah. And I think that goes the same for Remembrance Day. There are some who are very passionate. Our pastor of the church we're at is very passionate about it.
But he spoke of, he remembers the veterans as a child. He remembers meeting these gentlemen who had come back from this horrific trauma in their life, and he talked about and shared about what that meant to try to return to everyday life. For some, they were able to do it and they kind of came back and were able to carry on or have families. Others, not so much. He even spoke about the fact that, alcoholism was a major effect for some of those folks coming back, because the trauma was real and it was very painful and very difficult to try to figure out how to do what we know as everyday life when you witnessed such horrific tragedy. So we are grateful for those who did go before us, for the country that we have today, and that there were those who were willing to go and to fight for that and to stand up for what they believed was good and was true, and just the general treatment of humanity. We also recognize that it is not that way everywhere. There are people who are living with the reality of war today, and our heart goes out to those folks, and we try to remind our girls and teach them as well as we look at Remembrance Day that the honest truth is war is not a thing of the past. It is still very much present in our world, and we want to continue to work towards finding a way to resolve that, and most importantly, to love those who have come out of those situations and into our lives and into our countries, either in the form of refugees or immigrants. We want to make sure we reach out in compassion and empathy to help those folks find a way back to joy and to being able to live life as I think it was intended to be lived.
And so then, to pass on that idea and that sentiment to our children, I think the service we went to yesterday was really good for that, and important. It wasn't long and drawn out. No. When I was a child and I was part of Scouts and Cubs, and we would go to the cenotaph in our local town, was by the library where we were. And we had very long, drawn-out services, which I think there was value and importance to that. But as a child, I remember feeling bored and disconnected, whereas this was a little more succinct. It kept our girls' attention. It kept them asking questions and observing what was going on. And I
was going to say, it was great too to have, there was a local lady who was there, had invited us to stand with her. It was clearly very well informed about local government, and she knew who each person was and was able to tell us whether that was the actual individual or a representative of that official. And so it was nice to have her just kind of walk us through what was really our first sort of very community Remembrance Day service. We had them as children in school, but this was a community service.
And that's what we noticed there too. It wasn't just, it was at the church that we attend, so we expected to see people from the church. But what we saw was the community come out. So our girls were seeing people from all
teachers.
over.
It had been announced at their school. Both there was a service done at this particular church, and then there was also one done at St. Michael's as well.
The Catholic Church.
The Catholic Church. And the school announced to the students and invited the students to let their families know that these services were happening and to attend them. So it was just really neat to see a broader sort of community aspect to Remembrance Day, that it's not just this moment of pause in our busy lives, but they dedicate a day to it here, and we appreciated that.
And so the friend Betsy's friend we were standing with there, she's a very generous and passionate and kind lady, and so and she's been on an islander all her life. And so when we were explaining to her that, well, in years past, this wasn't a day that we had off, we were at school, we were at work for these things, she was like, and I can't remember exactly, but essentially that was just appalling.
It just unheard of to her, because her whole life it's been respected and represented as a day that you take the whole day to remember. So, So we were able to conclude it. It was a windy, blowy, cold day, but we were able to take our girls out and just walk the property again and experience the freedom of being able to do that. We can freely walk on shared, it's property owned by other people, but they're willing to allow us to do that. And I think some of that comes out of that sense of freedom and that sense of being able to share what we have, because we have plenty and we feel safe and secure to do that.
And you may be hearing the wind here actually today as well.
Still windy,
We've with the flap on our exhaust fan for our oven, we have that installed now, is rattling away, and beside us there's some plastic that's covering a window that needs to be fixed. It's rattling away. So if you hear some extra sounds, it has been windy.
Hilltop living.
Here. Hilltop living.
Hilltop living.
Yeah. But we have the freedom to enjoy it here. So
We do.
That's a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm.
For which we are very grateful. So we hope that you had at least a moment of pause that you could take yesterday to remember and to respect, and to remind those who are younger in your life and teach them the importance of recognizing and remembering. Take care, and we hope to see you soon.